Ask not what the country can do for you. Ask what you can do for the country. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Facebook Live. I'm Adrija Parashar, a lifologist, and on behalf of Lifology.com, I'll be speaking about the opportunities in the Indian Defence Forces. The reason why I'm speaking on this topic today is because of my close relationship with the Defence Forces, thanks to my family, which has been serving as officers in the Defence Forces since the past 3 generations. Beginning with my grandfather, who retired in October 1986 as a colonel in the paratrooper regiment. Since then, my father and my uncle have been serving in the Indian Army as officers. My father has been serving in the artillery regiment, while my uncle is serving in the infantry regiment. I have a lot of cousins, and 2 of them are in the Defence Forces, one of them being an officer in the Indian Army, another being an officer in the Indian Airforce, followed by sister-in-law as well, who is serving as an officer in the Indian Airforce. So as you can see, my family has a legacy of having served as officers in the Defence Forces. So with that knowledge, I would like to share with those of you who are interested in joining this prestigious profession about certain schemes of entry, selection procedure, and recommendations that can benefit you if you are interested in this field of profession. Now, there are some of us who have a fire to do something for this nation instead of whining about all the things that are going wrong. Some of us have the passion of being in the line of action and empowering this nation by serving as officers in the Indian Defence Forces. The Indian Defence Forces comprises of 3 different forces, which are the Indian Army, the Indian Navy, and the Indian Air Force, which form the backbone for national security of this nation. To begin with, I would like to highlight that officers inherit a glorious heritage and living traditions that are also blended in the advanced technologies, current medical sciences, management, administratives, which grooms them as leaders in a profession which is one of the most and honorable without a doubt. And this is also a profession where growth is a way of life. The Army, Air Force, and Navy provide you a platform for both personal and professional growth. There are ample courses that officers can undertake during these stages, during the stages of the career as officers. The Army also provides you 2 years of study leave during the course, which is paid and which can be taken to advance your educational qualifications. Apart from this, the inherent adventures and co-curricular activities that are a part of the forces provide you with an all-round development which makes you capable of being a leader in any field and taking on any profession from the front. It trains you in not only the war management, but also general management, human resource management, engineering, and medical sciences, which can enable a person to take on any profession with efficiency. And apart from all these privileges, it has an attractive pay and a lot of perks. And Army offers you the best of lifestyle in terms of providing you with the best of medical facilities, the finest clubs and finest sporting facilities, which are unparalleled and cannot be compared to any other profession. And being a family member of the Defence Forces, I can say from personal experience that the kind of grooming that I have received thanks to my father serving in the Army has been just unparalleled, and it helps me to adapt in any kind of situation and has also provided me with ample experiences. To begin with, for those of you who are interested in joining the forces, I will take you through some major entry schemes that you can be on the lookout for and also mention the minimum qualifications that are required for each of these entries. So to begin with, the National Defense Academy, also known as NDA, is one of the golden opportunities for young aspirants to join the forces. This is applicable for young boys who can apply after their 12th grade. The age limit for this entry is 16 and a half to 19 years. And as per the mentioned criteria, math and physics are compulsory in the +2 grade if you are keen on joining the Air Force or the Indian Army. The next type of entry is the Combined Defense Services, also known as CDS. CDS is provided by the Army and conducted through the UPSC. This entry enables you to join the Air Force, Navy, and the Army. Candidates in final year or those who have completed their graduation are qualified to appear for CDS examination. The next major entry scheme is the Air Force Common Admission Test, also known as AFCAT. The age criteria for this examination goes up to 26 years of age, and people who have completed their graduation or in the final year can apply for the same. This entry enables you to join the Air Force for various roles, be it the ground duty, pilot, or technical entries. The next entry I'm going to talk about is the University Entry Scheme, also known as UES. The Indian Army and Navy provide vacancies to engineering students in their final year who can be selected based on the cutoff criteria which will be announced in the college regarding the selection criteria. The next entry that I'm going to speak about is the Technical Graduate Course. This is also known as TGC, a course for engineering students in final year or who have graduated falling in the age range of 20 to 27 can appear for this entry. The entry is done on the basis of cutoff marks which are announced before the entry scheme progresses. The next entry I'm going to speak about is the SSC Navy Pilot and Observer Entry Scheme. This is primarily for the Indian Navy, and it releases entries, and the age limit required for applying for this post is 19 to 24 years, and commercial pilot license holders can apply up to 25 years of age. BTech candidates with more than 60% aggregate are also eligible for this entry. Eligible candidates have to submit their application, and candidates having marks which meet the mentioned cutoff are eligible to join and will be asked to attend the SSB for the same. The next entry scheme is the Territorial Army Scheme. This is for those of you who are working and want to serve in the Indian Army. This entry is from the age limit of 18 to 42 years of age and have graduated with a degree from a recognized university. The forms are applied in offline mode. The other entry is from the legal front, also known as the Judge Advocate General Department, or the JAG entry. This entry is for LLB degree holders from age limit 21 to 27 years of age. The merit list is announced based on your written and the SSB. However, the cutoff for JAG entries is 55% aggregate score in the LLB degrees. Having gone through certain important entry schemes, now I would like to take you through the process of selection, which is undertaken for the selection of the Army officers and the Air Force and Navy officers. So to begin with, the entry scheme that you choose, be it NDA, CDS, AFCAT, or any other, has a written examination. Once the written examination is cleared, a cutoff will be announced based on which merit list is created, and the selected candidates have to go through the Services Selection Board, also known as the SSB, which conducts psychological tests and a lot of group tasks about which I'll be speaking further in this video. The candidates who clear this round go to the medical examination round, where a candidate is kind of assessed for their medical and physical abilities before finally appearing on the merit list to become an officer. So now let me take you through the two major stages at SSB. So the Services Selection Board is a 5-day procedure, which I'll be explaining in form of two stages. So stage 1 is also known as the screening stage. This stage is the primary stage that a candidate has to go through. The tasks that are used to assess in this stage are verbal and non-verbal tests, which basically test your intellectual abilities to see the suitability that you may have to become an officer, and also a story writing test, or also known as a picture perception test, is done during screening stage. The picture perception test is basically a test where a picture will be shown to you for around 30 seconds, and based on the picture you're asked to write a story for which you will have 3 minutes, and following the narration of this story, it will be discussed in a group of say about 14 to 15 members. This completes the screening process. Once a person clears the verbal and non-verbal test as well as the picture perception test, they move on to stage 2. And let me emphasize that only if you clear this screening stage do you move on to stage 2. So stage 2 on the remaining days comprises of psychological test. Now this psychological test is basically done to assess your psychological suitability to be inducted as an officer. The main psychological tests that are conducted as part of these battery of tests are thematic perception test, word association test, situation reaction test, and self-description test. Following these psychological tests is a GTO, which is basically your group tasks which occur, and it will be assessed to see whether a candidate has the ability to work in groups as team members. This is an essential component where activities in groups are conducted to specifically assess the group working styles of candidates. This is then followed by a personal interview. The personal interview is a one-on-one interaction with the candidate, where again their suitability for becoming an officer is assessed. Once these 3 components comprising of the psychological test, the GTO, and the personal interview are completed, a conference is held where all the board members which have previously assessed the candidates review the progress that has occurred and also ask basic questions from the candidates. Following these tests, the merit list is formed and the candidates are taken to for medical examination once they clear both these stages. The medical examination is basically where there are strict specifications beginning from height, weight, your eyesight, everything is assessed to check the criteria which are mandatory to be selected as an officer in the Indian Defence Forces. Culminating the results of the SSB and medical examination forms the final merit list where the inducted officers are announced. Now, having gone through the various entry schemes and the process of selection, certain things that come to my mind in terms of preparation or things to keep in mind would be to just be genuinely yourself. These are abilities that cannot be learned. These are innately present in people who are suitable to become officers. Qualities like sense of responsibility, leadership, basic intellectual abilities, reasoning, quick decision making. Such skills are what the assessors might be looking for along with other skills. And another thing which is really important to keep in mind is your ability to work in groups. The thing that the defense forces really rely on is teamwork. And that is something that the assessors will be looking out for while conducting GTOs. And of course, your physical abilities do matter because these are not just assessed while being in the SSB, but also in the medical examination to see if you meet the criteria which are suitable for becoming an officer. So having undergone these processes and after being selected is when you are finally commissioned as an officer. For any further details about the selection criteria or preparation strategies, I would recommend you to visit the site www.ssbcrack.com, which gives you ample information about joining the forces. Furthermore, you can also visit the website joinindianarmy.nic.in and also careerairforce.nic.in for further information about joining the forces. Thank you so much, and I hope that this video has been helpful and will help you guide your process of joining the Indian Defence Forces. Good luck and all the best.